Hello and welcome back to Look Inside My Garden. I thought it was a perfect time to talk about wisteria. So behind me here is my amazing wisteria, which I'm so lucky to have. It was here when we bought the house, and it's actually made up of 3 wisteria plants. So there's 2 just behind me here, and there's 1 at the other side of the pergola. They're 3 different types of wisteria grown over to sort of create this canopy. And then over the last few years, we have untangled it, spread it, built another pergola. So we very, very much love this plant, and we've learned a lot about it since we've had it. And I thought I would talk about pruning and anything that might be helpful. So we have lived here nearly 5 years, and when we bought the house, the whole underside of the wisteria was actually covered in a netting. I think that the previous owners probably did this because it was quite messy, and used to drop lots of leaves and petals on the patio underneath, and they didn't like that. And something quite key to successful wisteria is having light and air flow through the plant. Which helps ripen the stems to produce more flowers. So it wasn't in a particularly healthy state when we moved here. I'm going to move you through here so you can see another bit of it. And it had all trellis. It's sort of grown up an old trellis, so we undid all of that and actually built this pergola with the wisteria here, which was quite tricky. I don't know how good this filming is. Just moving you along with the tripod. So anyway, it's created this amazing canopy, but pruning it is really tricky because I have to climb through it to prune the top level, which is really hard. I've just moved you again. I'm just going to go for a little wander down here just to show you how vast this plant is. So we have done the job of changing the shape of it. So we've actually added wiring all the way along here. We added an extra pergola here. And then it also goes all the way down the side of the house. So it is really vast and it's quite a big job. I think there are a few different ways of pruning wisteria, but something that I learned from Gardener's World actually years ago, I think it was Adam Frost talking about pruning wisteria, and I just followed his tip and the method that he used, which was the 2 and 8 method. So wisteria gets pruned twice a year, in February and August, so the 2nd month and the 8th month of the year. In February, I take it back by a couple of buds, but in the August, I take it back by 8 buds, but you obviously do your summer one before your winter one. However, if you've got a wisteria like ours, which we are constantly improving and changing the shape and extending it because we want it bigger, then what you don't want to do is prune it back to the same size every year, because it's not going to grow and it's not going to achieve the desired effect. So I've kind of learned how I like to prune it, but on certain bits of it, so at the edging where I don't want that shape to change, you do take it back, so you get lots of new whippy green growth in the summer, and you want to take that off because that's the annoying growth that gets caught on things and it becomes like a jungle, and it grows in your gutters and it gets in your tiles. It's a nuisance, but equally that is the growth that you want to tie in to create new shape and structure. But on my edgy bits, I don't want any of that. So you find where the growth has come from and you count 8 buds in the summer, and that's where you cut it. And then in February time, you then cut 2 buds and cut it, technically with the 2 and 8 method, but I'm a bit of a rule breaker, and actually I don't cut it back as hard as 2 buds because that's just how I like it. But yeah, I will show you. So as this wisteria starts to wake up, you will see how it develops, and you'll see where the flower buds are. And I'm really, really, really hoping that we don't get a late frost. We had one really hard frost, I think it was about March time, and a lot of my flower buds were fluffy and doing really well, and the frost destroyed them, and I lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of buds. Obviously my wisteria is enormous, so I was lucky that I still had flowers, but it was really gutting that I lost so many flowers. So in the next few weeks, I'm going to be climbing up through this to do its last prune, because it only recently lost all its leaves when it was frosty. So actually when it's completely bare like it is now, it's the perfect chance to really have a look at the shape, have a look at any long whiffy bits that need to be gone, because you want all of the energy from the plant to be going into producing those flower buds. And you want lots of air, and you want it to get lots of light, because you want the stems to ripen, because that's where you're going to produce the flowers. I've actually just spotted a shoot which might be quite a good one to show you. Let me move you around this way. So this is one which has obviously been missed from the summer. You can see how long and wiry they get, and you can see the buds. But if you leave it unpruned like this will just produce leaves. There won't be any flowers on that this year. So you simply follow that stem all the way back to where it's come from, and that's where you count your buds in. And actually, I do quite want a bit of the shape of this, so I wouldn't, even though it's the early spring prune, I don't want to cut it back to 2. I can see that I probably want that at about 6, because I know where I want it to be and where I want the future flowers to be. So yeah, you kind of just go with the flow. But if you've got, and the other thing is, if you've got a new wisteria and you're wanting to tie it into a fence and make it grow and change the shape, you don't want to be cutting it back so hard. The important thing is that you're tying in that new growth so that it can flower on that the following year. So yeah, I hope that's helpful, and I will definitely document the next prune as best I can, but it is quite tricky given the size of this beast, and that I have to squeeze up tiny holes. But yeah, it is absolutely spectacular. It's a total showstopper in this garden, and we're really, really lucky to have it. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon.